Hello, let's talk about Luke Cage. Forgive me. Luke Cage is about, of course, Luke Cage as he moves from Hell's Kitchen, where Jessica Jones and the rest of these Marvel Netflix shows took place, to Harlem, which is why we are starting this video in Harlem. But this show sees Luke Cage move to Harlem after the events of Jessica Jones season 1. And we see him basically go from being just a dude who wants to be left alone to being the hero of Harlem. And it works really well. And this is, I think, a good show. This actually, I think, has the best season 2 out of all the Netflix shows. Now, I haven't seen Iron Fist, of course. That will be a, very similar to Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, that will be a blind first time watch for me. But this definitely does have the best season 2. But season 1 is about Luke Cage having to deal with Mariah, who's a corrupt councilwoman, her cousin Cottonmouth, played by Mahershala Ali, and a dude named Diamondback, who has a personal connection to good old Luke Cage. Now, season 2 is also about Luke Cage having to deal with Mariah, who's that corrupt councilwoman, although she's now been kind of ousted by the council, by the city council, and is just a crazy ass woman who, literally, she cuckoo banana balls. She's cuckoo and is running her cousin's illegal, legal but illegal club / businesses with guns and stuff. And no, just like the Upper West Side. Okay. Because I think that's Josie's. But yeah, she, and we also see, of course, her go to war with we see her go to war with the Jamaican people as someone named Bushmaster, who's a really great villain, amazingly well. Even once you get past sort of how caricaturist the accents feel. I realized that they're supposed to be Jamaicans, and the subtitles are, apparently the original subtitles on Netflix did not have the subtitles in their accents. Apparently it was just regular English being shown on the subtitles instead of being true to what they're actually saying given in their accents. And that's very weird. I'm happy that Disney Plus fixed that, but apparently that's what the original subtitles would look like. Instead of them being me want to whatever, it was I want to, and it was okay, that's odd. But Netflix subtitles are sometimes very, very faulty. So yeah, but no, Bushmaster was an amazing villain. Him and Cottonmouth are the two great villains of this show, and unfortunately Cottonmouth's only in half of the first season. But yeah, I loved the first half of season 1. I thought it was very interesting. I loved that episode where we see Luke Cage's origin, in the prison, and how he gets his powers. That being, I think, the 4th episode, Step in the Arena. It's a great episode. And I think the guy who plays Luke Cage, whose name is Mike something, give me a minute, Mike Coulter, he, I think, does a really good job at playing Luke Cage. And Luke Cage is an amazing character. I mean, I've seen him in other things where he's really great, but it's nice that he's just such a really kind of good role model. Even in season 2, when he's sort of dealing with more of the the pressures of oh crap, I'm the hero of Harlem, and there's questions of corruption, could he be corrupt, all that kind of stuff is really good. I thought his dad was an amazing actor. His dad's played by the guy who actually plays Johnny and Sue Storm's dad in the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. He apparently died February of 2018, so a few months before this season came out, and this is like one of his last performances. He was amazing. And yeah, overall, I also loved the music. I love the style of this show. I haven't really had a massive chance to talk about this, but I love like old exploitation movies. Like I think those are just like the style of them are really cool, and like this having blaxploitation vibes just really felt right to me, and I loved it. And yeah, I love the music. I love the characters in this show for the most part. You know, like Luke Cage, Misty was amazing. Scarf was played by an amazing actor. Just so many great sort of character moments in this show, and you know, it's just really fun. And the action, I think, in season 2 actually did get quite better. And of course, season 2 is just amazing. Really, from end to end, season 2 is really good. And is definitely, I think, the best season 2 out of all of the Marvel Netflix shows, because season 2s are always about like, you know, are always about like our hero meeting like an evil version of himself. Like even Punisher does this to a weird extent, but I think this kind of handles that the best. But complaints, I do not like Mariah. I think her actress does a really good job, especially in season 2, playing her. But like, I don't know, she just like when she goes crazy, I immediately like lose interest in her, like 100%. I also kind of don't like Shades, although I think that's just more of how they chose to portray him as a character. Also, I kept expecting Shades to have superpowers, and he didn't, and that was annoying. Diamondback is a horrible character. He's probably the worst character in this whole show. He's just yelling everything, and like, sure, yes, he's a crazy person, so he has to say Bible quotes, and it just feels very much like, okay, so we lost Cottonmouth, and now we have to like replace Cottonmouth with another villain with a snake name. You know, it just, I don't know, felt very lame and stuff, and like they could have done better. But no, and he's also doing like a weird, like, oh, Tony Todd impersonation, that actor. I don't know if he really sounds like that, but he was honestly straight up just kind of doing like a weird Tony Todd impersonation, and I don't know, that feels weird now. I mean, it probably would have felt weird a decade ago when the show came out because Tony Todd was still alive, but it feels even weirder now that we're just a few months removed from Tony Todd passing away. Like, really? This is how you chose to portray a Diamondback show? And yeah, you know, there are quite a few things to love about the show, but yeah, I think just the villains suck, which really stinks. I just don't really like the villains all that much. Some of the music, like in season 2, is a little on the nose. A bit, like once you notice that, you're like, oh, this music's a bit on the nose. I actually really like. I know Iron Fist is kind of like the laughing stock of these shows, but the guy who plays Iron Fist does a really good job. And like considering what I imagine, because I know that like the Iron Fist show, Danny is like a little edgelord, but this actor in this show, he shows up in season 2, plays a very laid back Danny Rand, and I imagine like, okay, like he's actually being characterized as Iron Fist here. I imagine that because he's like a little edgelord in his show, he's not going to be as good. But I will say this: if they just ever bring back him as Iron Fist and they have him be played as laid back, he probably could do really well. So that actor can play a laid back Danny Rand, but edgelord Danny Rand apparently not so good. But we will get to Iron Fist eventually. And yeah, I remember a big complaint at the time for these shows was that a lot of them necessarily didn't need to be 12 episodes long. I think Jessica Jones season 2 didn't need to be 12 episodes long. Just because there's such a clear divide between Luke Cage season 1 the first half of Luke Cage season 1 and the second half of that season. I do think that season 1 could have been a little shorter than 12 episodes. This definitely could have, but I think those final 2 episodes are, especially the final episode, is just a lot of aftermath. So I can understand like why you would maybe want to have this be 12 episodes. And I actually think this did a really good job at feeling like a TV show. Like, not like an extra long movie with all the deleted scenes put in, like it's the Snyder Cut or something. But like a straight up, honest to God, like TV show where, you know, there's ups and downs, and like it felt like a superhero TV show. And I think they did a very good job of that. Like there probably should be a natural endpoint to like Jessica Jones and to Daredevil, but I don't know. I think a Luke Cage show could have easily just become something like The Incredible Hulk, where you just have like 5 seasons of Luke Cage going around helping people. Although I'm really surprised that they didn't try to ever adapt Luke Cage back in those days when TV shows were actually more episodic than they are now. But no, this was like really good, and I think they did a really good job with mostly everything. Like I said, the music, the action, the characters are really good. I like Misty. Misty Knight. It does kind of suck that she loses her arm in Defenders, apparently. I've seen Defenders, but like it's been a few years. I don't really remember a lot about Defenders, and I probably had really no connection to Misty with that show. But like, I will say, as a fan who is watching these all in order, or kind of in order, all in order to get prepared for talking about Defenders, you know, as a person who's watching this specifically for like a YouTube thing, I know about Defenders, and it does feel a little weird that like they had, because like Jessica Jones, I will say, I think you can kind of watch Jessica Jones all the way through, and Defenders doesn't even phase it, and Daredevil did a good job with its Defender connection at basically being really good at explaining everything. Like there was some sort of battle that happened, Daredevil got injured, and now he's in a church. And they show the Daredevil revealing his identity, which is the big cliffhanger of season 2 of Daredevil. Matt reveals his identity to Karen Page, and so the third season, when we finally get to Karen Page, we show that scene of him showing his identity, or revealing his identity to her, and all that kind of the drama that sort of comes out of that. So they do a really good job at sort of being like, oh, are we back in Harlem? Oh, we're close. They did a really good job at showing, you know, Daredevil, you know, sort of giving context for Daredevil's part in Defenders really well. And like I said, poor Jessica Jones, that show doesn't really get affected either way by Defenders too much. Like, there's talk about more superheroes, but that could easily just be references to a larger Marvel universe. But this show oddly has the most Defender connections, and I'm kind of interested to see what, I mean, considering the fact that Danny Rand is all about fighting the Hand, and the Defenders, you know, the main villain of the Defenders is the Hand. I'm actually very interested to sort of see how that show will handle its Defender connections or whatever. But that is it for now, I guess. Once again, I've been talking about these. I'm talking about these shows a little too long. Good thing I've given up on doing that supercut thing. I've kind of given up on that. I'm instead going to do something kind of special for you guys in my Defenders review. But anywho, that is all for now. Remember that God made you special. He loves you very much. I hope you had a very lovely day. I hope you had a very lovely week as always. God bless, and I love you.